Growing up with a Beatle as a father means bearing both talent and high expectations. Donnie Harrison, initially unaware of his father's fame, sparked debate by revealing unfinished songs left behind by George Harrison after his death in 2001. Should these fragments be shared or left undiscovered? Julian Lennon's arrival in 1963 came as a surprise, just as the Beatles were soaring to global fame. His early years were infused with the excitement of his father's success, but everything changed after John Lennon's divorce from Cynthia and his tumultuous relationship with Yoko Ono. As a result, Julian faced a growing distance from his father, leaving him with a deep sense of confusion and abandonment. Music, however, became his refuge. John's iconic song, "Hey Jude," was originally written to comfort Julian through this difficult time, serving as a balm for the fractured relationship. John also kindled Julian's own musical passion, gifting him a guitar and teaching him the basics. Despite the weight of his father's legendary status, Julian pursued his own path. He ventured into music, acting, and photography. His debut album Valet in 1984 made a splash with its infectious tunes and earned him a Grammy nomination for Best New Artist. However, living in the shadow of a musical icon was no easy feat. Julian struggled to replicate the success of his debut, leading him to step away from the music scene for a period. When he returned, Julian embraced new interests and focused on his White Feather Foundation, which champions environmental and humanitarian causes. In 2010, he showcased his personal collection of Beatles memorabilia and his own artistic work in the Timeless photographic exhibition. Julian's journey reflects his efforts to forge an identity distinct from his father's, proving that the creative spirit of the Lennon family endures despite the challenges. Zack Starky. While Julian sought to carve out his own identity beyond his father's shadow, Zack Starky's journey was driven by his passion for drumming. Born into the world of rock royalty in 1965, with Ringo Starr as his father and Keith Moon as his godfather, Zack was surrounded by music's most influential figures. Despite Ringo's efforts to shield him from the intense pressures of the music industry, Zack's connection to the beat was undeniable. At just 8 years old, Zack received a drum kit from Keith Moon, a gift that seemed to set his destiny in motion. As his parents' marriage fell apart, Zack's dedication to music deepened. He honed his craft with bands like the Icicle Works and joined his father's all-star band, proving his place in the world of drumming. The true test of Zack's talent came in the mid-90s, when he was tasked with filling Keith Moon's legendary shoes. The Who's search for a new drummer was a daunting challenge, with fans demanding not just technical skill but a presence that captured Moon's irreplaceable energy. Zack embraced the challenge and succeeded, earning both the band's and fans' approval. He managed to honor Moon's legacy while infusing his own style into the role. His career continued to flourish as he toured with Pete Townshend and Roger Daltrey, played with Oasis, and collaborated with other rock legends like Johnny Marr. In 1985, Zack married Sarah and they had Tosha, the first grandchild of a Beatle, adding another layer to the family's musical heritage. Zack's story is a testament to how talent can be inherited, but it is the dedication to refining one's skills and the courage to stand out that truly defines a legacy. Jason Starky. While Zack Starky thrived in the limelight, his younger brother Jason's experience was starkly different. Growing up under the shadow of a Beatle could be both a blessing and a burden, and for Jason Starky, born in 1967, that burden was heavy. As Ringo and Maureen's second son, Jason's childhood was drenched in music and fame, surrounded by the kind of access most could only dream of. However, the cracks in his parents' marriage brought instability. By the time Jason was 7, his parents had divorced, and he began to rebel against the world around him. The weight of inherited expectations and a fractured home life led him into trouble. Jason's teenage years were marked by petty crime and legal issues, a far cry from the polished rock star image of his father. The pressure of his famous surname only amplified his teenage angst. In 1987, Jason was fined for attempting to steal a car radio. A few years later, he faced more serious drug charges. Despite the chaos, Jason's connection to music remained strong. He became a drummer and played in bands alongside Zack, hoping to carve out his own place in the industry. Yet, the constant comparisons to his brother and the fame associated with his last name only fueled his frustration. Jason once described being Ringo's son as a major obstacle, a total pain. In a surprising turn, he chose to step away from the spotlight, finding fulfillment as a road manager and drummer in less high-profile bands. This shift wasn't about running away, but about reclaiming control. By stepping out of the chaos of stadium shows and Beatlemania, Jason found normalcy and personal satisfaction. He married fashion designer Flora Evans in 2010, and together they had 3 sons. For Jason, finding peace away from the glare of fame became his ultimate rebellion, a testament to forging happiness on his own terms. Mary McCartney, born in 1969, Mary McCartney's entrance into the world was nothing short of iconic. Pictured on the back cover of her father Paul McCartney's solo album McCartney, tucked inside his coat, she was a hidden gem captured by her mother Linda's lens. This tender moment hinted at the artistic journey Mary would embark upon. Linda McCartney was more than just Paul's partner. She was a multifaceted talent in her own right. Her influence on Mary was profound. Linda's passion for music, photography, and animal rights ignited in Mary a deep appreciation for creativity. Following in her mother's footsteps, Mary became a celebrated photographer, her work gracing notable magazines and exhibitions. But Mary's creativity didn't end with photography. She ventured into documentary filmmaking, with Wingspan in 2001, a personal exploration of the band her parents formed. Interviewing her father Paul for the film added a unique emotional depth that captivated audiences. Her journey was also marked by personal tragedy, with the heartbreaking loss of Linda to breast cancer in 1998. Turning her grief into a lasting tribute, Mary continued her mother's legacy through successful vegetarian cookbooks, promoting a compassionate lifestyle. Her commitment extended to working with her father at MPL Communications, reinforcing her role in the family business. Mary embraced motherhood, giving Paul his first grandchild, Arthur, in 1999, followed by another son, Elliot. Despite her divorce from filmmaker Alistair Donald, she found love again with director Simon Aboud, creating a blended family with 2 more children. Amidst the legacy of her famous parents, Mary has forged her own path, blending inherited legacy with her own distinct talents. Stella McCartney. Mary followed in her mother's footsteps, but her younger sister, Stella, carved out her own distinct path. Born in 1971, Stella's early life was spent on the move, accompanying her parents' band, Wings, around the world. Her birth was dramatic, arriving via emergency C-section, a moment that even inspired the band's name. Paul McCartney waited anxiously, praying for his daughter to be delivered safely on the wings of an angel. This intense beginning seemed to foreshadow Stella's life. While she inherited her parents' creative talents, it was fashion, not music, that captivated her. Stella's love for clothing emerged early, and with her parents' unwavering support, she pursued her passion relentlessly. Her ascent in the fashion world was swift and remarkable. After refining her craft, she launched her own fashion label in 2001. Her designs, known for their boldness and modernity, quickly gained the attention of A-list celebrities like Kate Moss and fashion enthusiasts worldwide. Today, Stella McCartney's boutiques can be found in major cities across the globe, showcasing her undeniable talent. But Stella's influence extends beyond fashion. She's a pioneer in promoting sustainability and ethical practices in the industry, proving that high fashion can be both stylish and eco-conscious. Her dedication to these principles has earned her significant accolades. In 2012, she was selected to design the athletic wear for the entire British Olympic team, a prestigious role in the fashion world. The following year, she was honored as an Officer of the Order of the British Empire for her contributions to fashion and sustainability. Despite her success, Stella remains grounded. As a mother of 4, her rebellious spirit still shines through, like when she wore a cheeky slogan shirt to her father's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. This moment reminds us that beneath the fame, she's still Paul's daughter, charting her own course. Stella's story isn't just about talent, it's about determination and the courage to break the mold, proving that even the children of legends can make their own powerful impact on the world. Beatrice McCartney. Beatrice. While her older siblings have boldly made their marks in the world, Beatrice Millie McCartney, the youngest daughter of Paul McCartney, seems to be moving to a quieter beat. Born in 2003 during Paul's marriage to Heather Mills, Beatrice arrived in a different chapter of her father's life. At a time when Paul was in his 60s and had already raised a family, Beatrice's early years unfolded away from the spotlight that defined her older half-siblings' childhoods. The calm environment that surrounded her might have been the perfect refuge amid the turbulence of her parents' divorce, which led to a shared custody arrangement. Despite the allure of her family's musical legacy, Beatrice seems to have avoided the public eye. Rumored to be a talented saxophonist, her true passions lie elsewhere. While others with her lineage might have gravitated toward the glitz of the stage or the flash of paparazzi cameras, Beatrice is drawn to the ocean's depths. Her fascination with marine biology speaks volumes about her desire for a quieter, more introspective path. In many ways, Beatrice mirrors her grandfather's legacy of quiet rebellion, choosing a path that diverges from the fame and fortune typically associated with her family. Her preference for exploring the mysteries of the sea over the limelight reflects a deeper, more personal journey. Watching the youngest member of a legendary family find her own way, free from the weight of expectation, reveals a different kind of story. Beatrice's life may not be as public, but it demonstrates that sometimes the most significant path is the one chosen out of the spotlight. Lee Parkins Starky. While Beatrice Millie McCartney quietly carves out her own space, Lee Starky's life has unfolded with a dramatic intensity that starkly contrasts her sister's calm. Born in 1970, Lee entered the world amid the turmoil of the Beatles' disbandment and her parents' troubled marriage, an environment far from serene. From a young age, Lee was drawn to the limelight. By 1989, she had already made a splash in a Samobile commercial with her father, showcasing her desire for public recognition. Her passion for fashion led her to open Planet Alice, a boutique in Los Angeles that echoed the vibrant styles of the 1960s. Though the store eventually closed, Lee continued to explore fashion and cosmetics, always in search of her true calling. Life, however, had its own plans. In 1994, following the devastating loss of her mother Maureen to leukemia, Lee was struck with the harrowing news of a brain tumor. The diagnosis required urgent surgery and radiation, marking the beginning of a grueling battle. Despite overcoming this challenge, Lee faced a recurrence in 2001, demonstrating remarkable resilience throughout. Through these trials, Lee has shown a remarkable strength. She has found support in her relationship with Kasabian bassist Jay Miller and delights in attending her siblings and half-sister Stella McCartney's concerts. In 2009, Lee welcomed triplets, marking a new chapter in her life. Lee Starky's journey is one of enduring strength and resilience. Despite the pressures of her famous family and serious health battles, she has carved out a unique path for herself, embodying a spirit that persists through life's toughest challenges. Donnie Harrison. Donnie Harrison, born in 1978, carries the weight of a famous legacy with a sense of quiet dignity. As George Harrison's only son, Donnie's life was destined to be intertwined with the immense shadow of his father's musical genius. Even his name, inspired by Indian musical notes, reflects George's deep spiritual connection and his desire to pass on something meaningful to his son. But Donnie's early years were a far cry from the whirlwind of rock star fame. George, determined to shield his son from the constant scrutiny of the limelight, focused on giving Donnie a more grounded childhood. At their serene Friar Park estate, George's world was filled not with the roar of fans and flashing cameras, but with the calming presence of garden work. To Donnie, his father's dedication to cultivating roses seemed like the most natural thing in the world. For the first 7 years of his life, Donnie believed his dad was simply a remarkably skilled gardener, completely unaware of the legendary status that lay beyond their garden gates. That illusion didn't last forever. The stark reality of his father's fame came crashing in when Donnie was teased at school with chants of "Yellow Submarine," a painful reminder of his father's iconic status. This unsettling moment forced a conversation between father and son that many parents might avoid. George, ever the gentle spirit, acknowledged with a sheepish grin that perhaps he should have mentioned his Beatles past sooner. Despite the awkwardness, the bond between father and son remained unshaken. When George passed away in 2001, Donnie found himself thrust into the public eye in a way he had never imagined. He played an instrumental role in completing his father's posthumous album, Brainwashed, a task that was as emotionally charged as it was professionally demanding. Through this process, Donnie not only honored his father's legacy, but also began to carve out his own place in the music world. While his journey might have seemed predetermined, Donnie approached it with a blend of respect and resolve. His music, while influenced by his father's rich heritage, took on a modern, electronic edge. Donnie's lyrics often reflect a sharp social consciousness, setting him apart from the classic sounds of his father's era. He navigated the high expectations and relentless comparisons with a poise that belied the pressures of his situation. The public scrutiny that comes with being a Beatles child could have easily overshadowed Donnie, but he faced these challenges head-on. His own music reflects a deep respect for his father's legacy, while charting a path that is distinctly his own. Donnie's ability to blend his inherited musical talent with a fresh perspective speaks volumes about his resilience and individuality. In many ways, Donnie's story is one of balance and adaptation. He was given the unique opportunity to enjoy a relatively normal upbringing before embracing his musical heritage. Now, as he continues to build his career, he does so with a sense of both legacy and innovation. Donnie Harrison's journey reveals the complexities of growing up in the shadow of a legend and highlights the strength it takes to forge an identity amidst such towering expectations. George Relationship's Donnie Harrison, George Harrison's son, isn't merely carving out his own musical path. He's also carrying forward a legacy that began with his father's storied career. But Donnie's journey, much like his father's, is interwoven with complex relationships and significant personal challenges. Before Donnie was born, George's first marriage was to Pattie Boyd, a model whose influence on George was profound but also tumultuous. Their marriage, strained by infidelity and diverging spiritual pursuits, ended in divorce. This period of upheaval, however, fueled George's creative genius, leading to some of his most iconic works. Soon after, George found a new partner in Olivia Arias. Their relationship began just a year after George's split from Boyd, and it wasn't long before Donnie was born, followed by their marriage. Olivia became George's steadfast supporter and confidant, a role she maintained until his untimely death from cancer in 2001. Their life together at the picturesque Friar Park estate was marked by deep affection and stability, providing Donnie with a loving environment until George's passing. In the wake of George's death, Olivia has tirelessly worked to safeguard his musical legacy. She has been involved in producing documentaries, managing re-releases of his music, and preserving his place in the annals of music history. Recently, Olivia hinted at a new development that has stirred significant debate. George left behind unfinished musical works that might be completed and released. The suggestion that these incomplete pieces might see the light of day has sparked a passionate discussion. Fans are divided. Some are excited at the prospect of hearing more of George's music, while others worry that releasing these fragments might undermine his artistic integrity. Olivia's potential plan to involve Donnie in finishing these works adds another layer to the debate. As George's son, Donnie's role could bridge the gap between his father's legacy and his own emerging career. The debate over posthumous releases is always fraught with ethical questions. There's a delicate balance between honoring an artist's vision and respecting their final wishes. For George, this situation is particularly complex, given that Olivia, his widow, is also Donnie's mother. This intertwines personal relationships with professional decisions, raising questions about whether these unfinished works should be shaped by those who knew George intimately. Donnie's acknowledgement of these musical fragments has fueled further controversy within the Beatles fan community. While some fans fear that altering George's incomplete works could betray his artistic intentions, others believe that Olivia and Donnie, being so close to his creative process, are well positioned to make these decisions. The issue transcends technicalities and taps into the essence of George Harrison's musical legacy, and who has the authority to shape its final chapters. This situation with George Harrison is part of a broader narrative involving the Beatles' children. From Julian Lennon's quest to define his own musical identity to Sean Ono Lennon's collaborations with his mother, and the diverse creative pursuits of Paul and Ringo's descendants, it's evident that the Beatles' influence endures through their children. The challenge remains: how do you respect a celebrated past while forging a distinct path forward? So, what do you think? Should George Harrison's unfinished music be completed and released, or is it best left as it is?